So, welcome to this quick run through on how to build an AI sales agent. Now, me personally, I've been building these sort of agents for the past year, and today I thought I might show you something that's a bit more sales oriented. So, if you deal with a high number of call volumes, this might be for you. This is what you would call an agentic build. So it's not just a traditional automation where you would send off a piece of information to, let's say, a platform, and it does something in the backend that you don't see. This is actually you're interfacing with an agent and you're talking to it just like you would to a normal employee. You might be asking yourself what this agent can actually do. Now, the way I've achieved this is I've set up three sort of functions, you could call it, or three routes that the agent can follow. The first one is agenda retrieval. So you can see what kind of upcoming sales call you have, any sort of client events, meetings, who you have it with, or if you have a team, which one of those salespeople actually is going to take that call. And having all these things sort of combined into one agent really makes sure that you have everything you need for that one sales call at your fingertips. And it should ultimately increase close rates since you're tailoring your speech or you're tailoring whatever it is that you're selling more towards each client and you're more prepared for every single sales call without needing to do all this like niche research and going back and forth with, I don't know, the guy that does your research for you. So this is just a lot easier to handle. Now the next thing is to log meetings, and you'll see this in the Airtable database that I've made. You can track this and all other KPIs in the database itself via talking to the Slack bot. I wouldn't need to go into the database and change things. I just tell the agent, okay, can you change this for me, please? And it will do that on its own on the back end. And the third and last one is scheduling calls. Now, this is a huge one because I see a lot of business owners, also especially in the community, they get stuck between sending emails, invites, and making sure everyone's on board, and also keep making sure that your client is on board, and then also the people that your contractors or the people that are going to attend the call on your side. Just going back and forth, this saves a lot of time because this agent actually handles scheduling in that call into your company calendar and also automatically sending invites to every single attendee who's going to be in that call. All right, let's take a look at how exactly I did this. Now, we have our system set up here, which is something that I've been working on this past few weeks. And essentially what we have is we have our operator, which is actually you in this case, and you speak with the agent on Slack, and the agent actually is linked to a backend database, which I've set up in Airtable. This agent also has access to platforms that are used to do retrieval, logging, and as well as scheduling via API calls. You can just send out an API call saying, "Hey, I want this information," or "Could you update this and this?" And then it will automatically do that within the database, and then it will go back into the database and then update it accordingly. You can also, this is more recent, you can also do it with something called as model context protocol, which eliminates the need for API calls, but I'm not really sure how to do this. But this is something I am looking into right now, as I've heard it's a bit more efficient than doing it via APIs. Um, Before I actually demo the system, I have a few notes on the setup. Now, the agent retrieval function actually pulls from database, as said, and then it compiles a summary of, let's say, the meetings that you have in the next week or today. Um, for meeting logs, we're using an intent scanner. Actually, all of these three use an intent scanner, but for meeting logs, we're using what part of the log you want to change. So let's say you wanted to change the agenda for a meeting. Um, you can actually tell the agent, hey, I want to discuss this in X meeting, or could we change the agenda to this? And it will automatically clock that okay, you want to change the agenda. And scheduling works with Google Calendar. You can write and check if, let's say you have a meeting from, I don't know, 12 to 1, and the agent can actually pull that information from Google Calendar and then check where your free slots are. And then it will only schedule a meeting from 1 p.m. after. That way you can so that way you don't override. Also with attendees, you don't have like double bookings and all that stuff. So it's, yeah, super powerful when you can call a backend. The automation platform of choice for me is make.com. I use it to bridge everything together, and I know that for an agent setup, it's N8N is more useful. At the time of recording this, I'm looking into that as well, and I think from here on out, I'm going to start using N8N for most of my systems. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at my make scenario. By the way, all this is available down below. So if you want access to this, you can just go to the link in the description and then get whatever you want. And then take a look and run it for yourself, see if it works, if you can add things if you want, and just let me know how it goes. Because I'm also still learning. But yeah, I go more into detail of this on the guide below. But essentially, we get a webhook that comes in from VoiceFlow, and I'll show you that in a minute. We parse JSON because the data structure is in a JSON format. So things like the date of the meeting, the time, the client, all these are sent in a JSON format, and they need to be parsed in order so that we can actually use them. Based on the three functions that we just discussed, we have three filters. So first one is if the user wants to check my meetings, if you want to update logs, or if you want to make a new meeting. And according to that, you parse the data accordingly. And at the end, you can always see there is a webhook response that goes back to VoiceFlow saying, okay, this was done successfully. The first one is a simple search record module. This one just checks the database for any records and then lists them. This is pretty simple. Update log. Now, you can actually have a upsert a record. I believe it's called upsert. Yeah, upsert a record. Now, in case you want to update something, Airtable has this really cool module called upsert a record, which is basically you check if a record ID is being changed, and then you can override it to the new value. Now, let's say you change the attendee list. You want to bring someone else on that previously wasn't on the list. What this automation actually allows you to do is to send out an email to the new list of attendees that is now updated because you first update the record and then you first add another email to the attendee list, and then you send out the emails to all of the attendees, including the new one, and then the webhook goes back to VoiceBell saying, okay, you've done this successfully. In case you want to do a new meeting, these two modules are redundant, but I've added them as a failsafe. Now, these OpenAI modules, what they do is they take natural language data and they process it into JSON. So they reparse it into a format that both these modules, that the Airtable module here and the calendar module here can work with. I can actually show you one example is the date. So let's say if someone says, oh, I want to schedule a meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m. The agent doesn't know what tomorrow is. So you actually need to specify the current date is now, which Make has their own native date and time collector. And then it actually parses that input into a day, month, and year format. And the same with time, which is the second OpenAI module that I have here. This does the same with time. So if you say at noon, for example, noon is not, we can't just take noon as an actual input. We need to convert it into 12 p.m. And what this does is convert it into hour, and minute format. So yeah, once that's done, we create a new record, add it to Google Calendar, send out emails to the invites, and then again, webhook response back to VoiceFlow. Okay, this is how my VoiceFlow agent looks like. Now, this is actually the conversational part of the agent itself. We can see this first thing right here is an agent module. VoiceFlow actually has their own agent modules. The first step is to greet and wait for the user to reply. And then we have these three intents, and the agent chooses, based on what we've just replied, the agent chooses out which intent we're searching for. And then basically each of these intents calls a different function. And here on the right side, you can actually set the different intents, or in VoiceFlow they're called paths. So the first one would be the user would like to see their upcoming client meetings in the meetings page on Airtable. This way we just provide the agent with a bit more context. So it knows which functions to call and when to send the webhook. Yeah, apart from that, it's very straightforward. We have our three intents here, and based on which it depends, it just goes down different routes. Now, at the end of each path, you'll find something called as a post API. This is just basically sending all of the data. So, for example, this is how the one for new meeting looks like. We're basically sending the client agenda, the date, the time, and the attendees. And then we're also capturing the response to make sure that it's a positive response. You go to sort of end message, like, is there anything else you want me to do? And if not, then it just ends the agent in the current state. But yeah, we can have some sort of error or some fallback capture for that as well. Okay, bringing all this together is Replit. We actually have a. All right, this is how the Airtable looks like now. Oh, this is how the Airtable looks like. This is a very simple meetings that I. This is a very simple sales planner that I did. We have two pages here: clients and meetings. If you go onto clients, you'll see that you can see the name, which rep they're assigned to, the description of the job that we're doing, and then the meetings, and also a few other pieces of information. Um, and this is the important one now, meetings. Now this is, and the first one is meetings. We have, okay, this is how my Airtable looks like. Now we've got meetings and client page. The first one is meetings. Now the way I've structured it is we have date and time and then the status, so you can set whether or not they've showed or the meeting is scheduled or if the meeting has been completed. Um, you can see the client and you can see the sales rep that's in charge for that meeting, and then a list of people that are going to be present at that meeting to send invites to, and the agenda as well. All right, let's go ahead and actually test this out. So I've got my Slack agent right here, and we're just going to say hi. Um, List my meetings, or upcoming meetings. This is a pretty simple information retrieval, so it should do it very quickly. Yep, there we go. So as you can see, it has taken the correct information from Airtable. Now you'll see that the first meeting is actually marked as a no-show, which means that the ones that we have here are the correct ones that are in Slack. So now let's plan a brand new meeting using our agent. Let's go. I want to make a new meeting. When do you want the meeting to take place? Let's say 25th of April. And the time, let's say 6 p.m. Now notice we haven't done this in the right format, so it should convert it into the correct format by the two GPT modules. Um, let's see. What do we need to cover? Automation, audit, I don't know. And let's set it up with One Media LLC. All right, and here it tells you to provide the contact information. Now at this point, you can just paste in, let's say you want to invite the same people again from this first meeting that didn't show up. Let's say we just paste it in and you're good to go. If it's comma separated, the agent will automatically recognize that and it will adjust it accordingly. Let's go yes. All right, and then it does this cool thing where you can actually confirm the meeting or you can go back. Let's go and confirm. And it should send out the webhook and we should be seeing the meeting in Airtable. Okay, there it is. We've got One Media LLC sales call, which is correct, at 6 p.m. So it just does 1 hour automatically. And if we go back to Airtable, we can see that the meeting just occurred with our agenda automation audit. And yeah, so this is how you can schedule a meeting. This is done completely asynchronously, which means that you don't actually need to send out every single piece of email, or you don't actually need to go out and send invites. They would automatically receive the invite, and they would also receive email reminders if you had it set up. In this automation, we actually don't, but you can very easily set these things up that they receive an invite, let's say a week before the meeting, and then also 24 hours before the meeting, which increases the show up rate. But you can see that these things are logged correctly. So yeah, that's that. I see a lot of hype around building AI agents or using AI agents to completely automate your business. Me personally, I don't believe in that. I think that it's good to have certain agents for very low fidelity tasks. So tasks that require hours of time per week, such as logistical scheduling and all that stuff. And I think that with these agents that do, let's say, three very basic tasks, you can automate and buy back a large portion of your time. And this way you can do all these things seamlessly right alongside your other team comms. And yeah, this is just super powerful when it comes to doing a lot of like matching up tasks. But yeah, I see a lot of talk about AI agents in the community. I just wanted to build one and sort of show that this is not a 100% solution to all your problems within the business. But as I mentioned, every single resource that I have used here to build this AI agent can be found below. If you'd like, you can leave some feedback on how this sort of went for you. I'm always looking to make these more tailored to businesses. So if you have any suggestions, that's greatly welcome. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.